Today I want to show you how to put together your own basic isometric bar and chain, which is a great piece of exercise equipment. I don't really know if that's what it's called. That's what I'm going to call it here. But it was a device that was popular back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, popularized by people like Bob Hoffman, who used it to train his athletes. It's profiled in his book, Functional Isometric Contractions. Bruce Lee used it. I'll show you some photos here of what it looks like. And basically, it was a bar connected to a heavy chain and a foot plate that you would stand on. And by using this apparatus, you could do a lot of different exercises. Basically, you could do everything that you could do with a barbell and a dumbbell, but you would do the exercises isometrically. So what I'm going to do today is to show you how to put together your own isometric bar and chain, and then show you what you can do with it afterwards. Basically, you only need 3 key ingredients, although I will mention 2 other pieces of equipment that you can add to it to make it even more versatile. So the first thing you're going to need is a chain. Now, I'm not going to actually use a real chain the way they did back in the day, because first of all, I work out in my bedroom. Having a chain, a big chain, is bulky and cumbersome, and times have changed. So I'm going to use a gymnastic strap. You can buy these. They usually come in a set of 2. You've seen these. You attach the Roman rings to them and people do their pull-ups and all kinds of calisthenics. It's basically some seatbelt material. It does have markings on the side. It's extremely strong, and you could get 2 for like less than $30. It comes with a very strong clip here, and it allows you to adjust the length of the strap to whatever exercise you're doing. And once it's locked in, it's not going anywhere. It's really strong. I mean, it's got to hold the weight of a gymnast after all, so it's not going to let you down in that respect. So you'll also need a climbing carabiner. These are about $10 each. Very, very strong. You want to get one that's rated for climbing because you don't want it to pull apart or snap on you when you're doing your exercises. And the other thing you need, and you can get this for about $10 also on Amazon, and I'll leave links for all of these items in the description below, is a bar. You can use this bar for certain exercise machines. You attach a cable here and you can do your curls or your presses or whatever. But what I'm going to do is attach the carabiner to one end of it like that. And as you've probably figured out, the other end goes in the loop of the strap. So what can you do with this? So if you step on the lower half of the loop, you can adjust it to how you want very easily. For example, you can do a bicep curl. Now, before we go on, why isometrics? So have you guys heard of Zenos Paradox? Zeno was an ancient Greek philosopher, lived about 2,500 years ago, and he said that, to paraphrase, if you take a hare and a tortoise, and you give the tortoise a head start, let's say 100 yards, if you start the race, before the hare can catch the tortoise at the 100-yard point, he's got to reach the 50-yard point. But before he can reach the 50-yard point, he's got to reach the 25-yard point. And before he can reach the 25-yard point, he's got to go 12.5 yards. So if you keep cutting that in half, Zeno demonstrated that all motion is impossible. The hare will never catch the tortoise because he's got to get to the halfway point before he can even make a move. And it sounds silly, but that baffled people up until the time of, say, Isaac Newton and Leibniz when they invented calculus. So how does this tie into isometrics? Well, basically, if you do something like a bicep curl, you take the dumbbell in your hand or barbell, and you're bringing it up and you're doing a curl. Now, there are some parts of that exercise that are extremely difficult in comparison to the rest. When you've got the bar or dumbbell all the way up here, no matter how heavy it is, or it was when you started, you can hold it. So this is not a really tough part of the exercise. Getting started, let's say here, that's difficult. Going past the halfway point, you've got momentum working with you a little bit until you get to, say, here, where it becomes harder to do that final contraction and get that dumbbell up to this part of the exercise. So your time under tension for the most critical parts of the exercise are just like a millisecond. So it's kind of like Zenos Paradox, where in order to get to this point, you have to get to the halfway point, right? But not every point is as valuable. So that's why when you're doing traditional weightlifting routines, you have to do multiple reps and multiple sets, because let's say if this is a hard part of the exercise, your muscle is only under tension for a millisecond before you've moved on. But if you're doing the exercise isometrically, you're holding that tension. Don't need the bar for that, but you're holding that tension for, let's say, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, and you don't even need to go all out. You could just go, let's say, 70% of your full strength. So that's kind of the theory behind it. Even though the muscle itself isn't moving, it's not contracting or expanding, the fibers are called to try to overcome that resistance. This kind of isometrics is actually called overcoming isometrics, where you're pushing against something that's immovable, as opposed to, let's say, squeezing a hand grip, where the hand grip is pushing back, which is a yielding isometric exercise. So to get back to the strap, so let's say I want to do a curl and emulate a barbell curl, and this is one of the difficult parts of the movement, right? So I would hold this position for the 7 seconds. Then I could adjust the strap higher or lower depending on which angle I want to hit next. Let's go a little higher. So now I'm up here and I'm doing the same thing, this isometric contraction like that. So basically, that's the idea behind this apparatus. It allows you to really stress that muscle at the most difficult points. And you can do this with anything. If it's a press, let's say you've got a barbell here and you're going to press it up. Same principle. When you're holding it here, it's not as bad. That first part right there, so you might want to press up like that and hold this contraction, and then make it a little larger, make the loop a little larger, and go this way and this way. So right before lockout is another good spot. If you're doing, let's say, a bench press, you can just loop this around and press right at the point before lockout, and then adjust the strap to maybe to here and do that. So you're kind of like tricking the body into doing a full range of motion, but you only have to do it one time for 7, 8, 9 seconds, and your workout is over. Now, I mentioned that there are a couple of additional pieces of gear that you can get that will make this bar and chain, in air quotes, device a little bit more effective. The first thing is a set of these J hooks. If you're doing a curl or some kind of a rowing motion, you might want to get something like this to kind of emulate the bar even better. rather than holding it by the strap. Although again, you don't need it. If you're traveling, just take the strap. That's all you really need, and you can get an excellent workout. The other thing is some kind of a platform, like a stepper. This is also something that's available on Amazon. And the idea here is that for certain exercises, and you would just basically loop this, let me put this down. You would loop this at the bottom and stand on it. In between, you put your feet on either side of the strap. And the idea here is that for certain exercises like calf raises and shrugs, you could get a better feel. Because when you're doing, let's say, a shrug or a calf raise with just the strap, it's picking you up by the heels as well. So you don't get that with a platform. So basically that's it. For less than 50 bucks, you can get a tremendous workout. If you're an older person, it'll strengthen your joints. It'll strengthen your tendons and ligaments. It'll strengthen the muscle. I mean, you're not going to look like Ronnie Coleman in his prime, but that's not the goal here. You want to train effectively, efficiently, and without injury. So hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Stick around for more isometric and fitness videos, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.